My husband and I had gotten married. We were married for a little over a year, and actually we were at the next phase in our marriage, and we had started trying for having kids. And I actually had an early miscarriage, which at the time I thought was the worst thing that could happen to a person. Little did I know what was in store for me next. And actually it was, a blessing in disguise, because it was that miscarriage that made me more aware of my body. And I was only 28 at the time. And one morning I remember just lying in bed, and I felt around, my breasts were very sensitive, and I felt a rock hard lump. And I went to the doctor, he felt around, he's like, you know what? Yes, I feel a lump. Am I that worried? I'm not that worried, but if you're worried, get it checked out. And I remember having this whole debate, should I get it checked out? Should I listen to him? But something inside of me just kept saying, get it checked out. And of course, my husband on the side also kept saying, we need to get it checked out. Basically, that Monday, we knew that I'd be getting the results. I came into work. I'm very, much about my to-do list. I started attacking my to-do list, and it was around noon. And for some reason, usually I'm pretty brave. I couldn't get myself to call the doctor's office to get the results. And I had my husband call. And he calls me back, and I remember sitting at work at my computer, and he's like, honey, your results came back, and all he said was, they're abnormal and you're going to need surgery. And the way the human mind works, until you go through cancer, you don't really know what abnormal means. And I kept kind of giving myself pep talks and saying, it's abnormal. It doesn't mean it's anything bad. It's just not normal. And it turns out that before Jay had called me to tell me the results, he had already called my mom. And he, said it to her very bluntly. He was like, it's cancer. She came to pick me up from work. She met me in the building, and we were kind of in a trance. Like when you first hear the news, you really feel lost. It started happening so quickly and so dramatically, like I thought, okay, I'll have this little minor procedure, remove this little lump, and it just became so much more in a matter of days. And, they start telling you, okay, you're definitely gonna need chemo, and that may impact your fertility. And by the way, you have to have surgery, within the next few weeks, and what surgery do you want? I did have the option of a lumpectomy or a mastectomy or a double mastectomy, and we were at this point, we had to make a decision about the type of surgery. And I remember Jay just said, I don't care if they cut everything off. As long as they leave your head, I'll just carry you in my briefcase, and I'll just take you wherever I go. And as long as you're here with me, that's all I care about. And that's when it became easy. And I said, you know what, he's right. That's all that matters, me being here. And I decided, let me just take the most aggressive approach. Let me do a double mastectomy. The morning of my surgery, Jay surprised everyone, and he got us all sweatshirts that said Team Elina on the back. And just seeing those sweatshirts, I really felt like we're all Team Elina, and we'll all get through it together. And I had this support, and got through the surgery, and again, everything had to happen very quickly. Weeks after the surgery, I had to do IVF, because for women who are planning to have children later, they do recommend that you freeze your eggs or your embryos. And and at that time, like, every little move was a victory. Like, I remember it took 6 weeks until I could get my arms up, and when I got my arms up, it was, everyone was so happy. So I had the surgery, froze the eggs, and then had to start chemo, and went through chemo for 4 months. And then when chemo ended, I had 5 weeks of radiation. When I think back to that time, it is very surreal. You just keep going and you're moving forward, and that's what you should do. And you almost don't have to think about many things, because the doctors tell you, okay, you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna go to this step. And for me, the hardest part was actually when everything was over. people are very there for you when you're going through treatment, and you shave your head, which I did do, and you lose your hair, and you look sick, and then treatment ends and you're kind of expected to just go back to life the way it was. And I came back to work, and it was the place where I was diagnosed, and my desk looked exactly the same, and here I am, just this completely different person, different on the inside, different on the outside. And that's luckily right around the time that I was introduced to 5 Under 40, and I was lucky to meet other women that had gone through it, other young women, and that's really what kept me sane. And everyone I've met has they've enriched my life in a way I never thought possible. And now, it's been a little over 2 years. You have this unique perspective where the good things they feel that much better, because you just don't take anything for granted anymore. And I have sometimes stress at work, and I take a few minutes when I'm in those stressful moments, and I just think back to myself in that chemo chair. And at that moment, I couldn't even think beyond and think one day I'll be healthy and I'll be back to normal. And now here I am. It's a new normal, but I'm back to it. I always like to think that I had a big heart, but now it's expanded even more. And there's no limit to how much I want to do for other people and help them the way other people help me, and just carry them forward in this journey and show them my hair's growing back, and I'm okay, and I'm moving forward, and you're gonna move forward too. And yes, we offer women these services, and it does help their quality of life, but more than anything, just feeling that sense of community and that connection, it's just irreplaceable.